I think we live. Let's see here.
Live. That was 3 days ago.
Yeah. There we go. We live. All right, folks. We're gonna wait a couple minutes, let some folks get on here. It don't matter really because it's gonna be recorded and go down in history. But I do want to give you some updates on what's taking place and take care of some hate mail and um, and just cover a few issues that we need to cover. First thing I want to cover about the hate mail of the event that we got going on. Um, for all the haters out there that says, well, this ain't biblical and this don't matter and this don't, whatever the case may be. If it wasn't biblical or important, let's call it, I don't think Pastor Greg would have anything to do with it. If it's dividing the church, if it is dividing the church, it is an issue. If you see me on here, please do not call and text my phone. Good Lord, the phone keeps on going off. But anyway, I want to share this with you, that if you knew what took place before this, before Greg Locke ever walked out on stage and with the rant, and I'm going to defend the rant. If you knew that, you would sit back and watch God work. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I see. And so maybe you'll sit back and maybe you'll repent for sitting here throwing rocks at us for doing this. Just like I said, it is the elephant in the room. It is, the people who believe the Bible, they see these things that don't match up with what NASA has to say. And then we're taught in school to believe, please quit texting me. Anyway, we're led to believe these things. We're led to believe what we're taught in school. And people say, well, they didn't talk about this in the old church. You're exactly right, because there was no NASA in the old church. And every single school book that was given to you by the Rothschilds. It's basically your enemy. Your enemy trained you to work for them. But going back to the event, what I see is people that are coming, they're coming out of the closet left and right. I've got people texting me that I had no clue that was been friends of mine all my life that are calling me and saying, I'm so glad that somebody's finally standing up for this. And I'm not going to get into the debate part of it. I'm going to give my testimony, and I'm going to let these professionals that know way more about this than I do debate, But I do want to tell you, you better hold off on that hate mail, because the Lord's plan is not your plan. And if you would have been obedient, or if you are obedient, he will use you for things like this. And you will see, you mark my words, you will see people that will be saved, that will be delivered under that tent at or after this event. Period. These Christians with a common sense are walking away from these 501c3 churches, because they understand that basically they're run by the government, they're run by the denomination. And if you recall, when deliverance first come to Global Vision, when it first came, and Greg was so scared, he was so afraid to tell everybody. And then after he done it, it was such a sigh of relief. And then the congregation told him, Greg, we've been waiting on you. We've been waiting on you. So it's going to be the exact, this is just another step. And I'm telling you, there's a lot more steps. There's a lot more steps. I'll give you for instance. I've done an interview before with Jennifer McNashie on Deep Believers. She done one with Dave Bryan a couple days ago. This is the guy that took in Anton LaVey's daughter and then brought her to Christ. And he found out a lot of things dealing with the man who founded the Church of Satan in America. He had to deal with him for a while, but you can go and watch that video. But this man, Anton LaVey, the man who's founded the Church of Satan, he had above top clearance, what do they call that? I guess above top clearance.
Top secret, like the highest.
Higher than the
highest.
Yeah.
In the government.
Well,
they used him. He was an asset.
Yeah. So it come to me. I said, why would this man out? There's other ones. There's other ones that was full-blown Satanists that has been tied in with our government. And just as plain as day, when I was watching this video and the man said he had access to the Pentagon. The Pentagon, and then it clicked the Pentagon, the pentagram. So y'all can say, well, I'm stupid. But if the man who founded the Church of Satan have got above top secret access to our government, it's time for you to wake up. Just like I said, this whole debate is just a crumb of the truth that's coming, and that is biblical, that these things, every single lie will be revealed. But the question is, are you going to see it? Anyway, there's a lot of things that took place in my life, in our lives, that has put us on this path of obedience. I'm going to cover one of them, and then we're going to go. We got busy things to do, but and the reason I brought my wife on here, because she can remind me of parts that I have forgotten. But in 2020, I woke up on 9/9 and 9/10 September, and woke up smelling smoke in my house, and woke Chris up for smelling. Woke Chris up. She didn't smell anything. I said I smell like somebody was burning leaves. But when I went to bed on 9/10, I asked her, I said, I wonder what's going to take place tomorrow, because, everybody's wondered about if something's going to take place on 9/11. All right. Well, at 5 o'clock in the morning, I get a phone call from the fire department, and they tell me that my business is on fire and it's 10 miles away. So you understand, I smelled smoke. I woke her up, said I smell smoke, and you didn't smell no smoke. But I woke up and said that I smell smoke, and this is what took place. So anyway, the business was almost gone when I got there. It was almost burnt to the ground. And I had a feeling of release. Now, I was tied to that business. I had a very successful battery business, and had planned on franchising this business out across America. But God had another plan. And that night, I was told by the insurance company that I had lost $488,000 because I was severely underinsured. And the way the Lord works is he puts that money in your hand at the exact right time. So we're going to move on to, it was a year before I got any insurance money, right? All right. So a year later, I finally got $125,000 a year later. All right. And then you want to tell some of this about the deal with the daycare?
Well, let me just say, on my refrigerator and on my vision board, I had that we will have this house paid in full in the year of 2020. 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
And I had no idea how we were going to do it. I didn't have $200,000 laying around. But then we got insurance money. I had some money that I had saved. So we were able to pay off our house. Well, Tim says, well, we can use, let's see how much the house appraises for. It was like, I don't know, 380, 350, something like that. So we went to the bank, and this was all between like in September, October of 21. Went to the bank and they gave us $200,000 home equity loan. Meanwhile, the daycare that Tim went to school at, had been for sale. Well, I had heard that it had sold for $350,000, which is what they were asking, and it had sold twice. But both times the closing didn't go through because the bank would not loan money on that daycare. So, but I had $200,000, or we did, from home equity, right, from the house that we had just paid off. So I called them and I said, I know you're asking $350, and I'm sure it's worth every bit, but here's my offer. It's my only offer. But it is a cash offer. So we don't have to involve any banks. It's $200,000. And that was on a Friday afternoon. I was sitting at the Dollar General when I called the real estate agent and made that offer. On Monday, they called and said, we'll take it. So then I owned a daycare, like my own daycare.
Yeah.
Whereas
you own the property.
Right, the property. We were still in the church daycare at that
That's
time.
right. And going back to the church daycare, I'm just going to give you, I'm giving you these testimonies about being obedient. So, in the process of us opening this other one up, is kind of like when we started. I could not have been on this Patriot train because I was locked down to that business. So when that business burned up, I had rent some of the property. I had a contract with a big company, let's just say. And so it was paying for itself and making profit, just the ground, not the building. And so anyway, that freed me up to where I could start going to these locations. And that's kind of like where me and Greg got put together at. Okay. The whole story about booking and getting kicked out of the church. Well, getting kicked out of the church was the very same church that she had the daycare in. So anyway, I just want to give you some for instances about being obedient and letting God do what God needs to do. Did I want my business burnt down? Absolutely not. Do I see it now as a blessing? That's hard to, yeah. And it was arson, and we know exactly who done it, but there's not enough proof there to charge it.
Yes, but what was intended for evil for those who love the Lord, it will be turned.
Exactly right. It's exactly right. And I see what you don't want me to get too deep into this.
Yeah.
You scared, ain't you?
Oh, I just want you to mind your words.
Y'all see how it is? I'm censored by my own wife. Anyway, I want
to censor him.
You're right, because I would get kicked off here if I wasn't. So anyway, folks, I just want you to be humble. Pray for this event. Instead of hating and throwing rocks, what I want you to do is I want you to pray that people walk out of that tent that may be an atheist, that may have been lukewarm, that may have been that will not go into a 501c3 church. You got to understand that these people that are intelligent, that things are not matching up, they're looking for a place to go. They are. And these people that I know that we meet with, they won't even walk into a church. And if everybody would just pray and just say, hey, let's pray that this event goes off whoever's right. Like I said, I'm going to do videos. I prayed about this, and I was going to wait for my common sense video. I wasn't going to put nothing on video that I was going to say on stage. But what I'm going to do is but the Lord told me, he said, no, give them to them now. So what I want you to do is when I start giving you common sense things on the next video, I want you to look at them, and so you can start questioning things. I don't want to wait and surprise everybody on this. I want you to do your research before you come to the event or before you watch the event. It's just common sense, folks. It's just we've been indoctrinated. So I think that's all we're going to cover today. We've been on here 15 minutes. That's good enough for a little old short video. But suppose Greg says that we will get the date of the event. We should know by Wednesday. So we have got to go to work. We love y'all, and y'all have a blessed day.